Good tidings, ladies and gentlemen of the Lodge, and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Hero's Journey series, where we zoom in on our favorite heroes and analyze their journey every step of the way. But before moving forward, as a preface, I must mention that the Hero's Journey, as we know it, was put forth by Joseph Campbell in his internationally acclaimed book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. It outlines how many of our favorite heroes, despite their differences, all experience the same patterns and structure on their adventures. Now, Joseph Campbell's model is a reductionist outline of a hero's narrative, but at the end of the day, that's the point. The model on the screen is the one I will be using, as it outlines both the hero's inner and outer journeys. To help you follow, the outer journey will be listed in gold, while the inner journey will be listed in silver along the bottom. Now, with all of that said and laid out, today's hero of choice is none other than Zack Fair from Crisis Core. To be clear, this video will be analyzing Crisis Core in its isolation and won't be factoring in Remake, Rebirth, and the whole new FF7 trilogy. As demonstrated from previous videos, the hero's journey has had quite the influence on Square Enix's games, but I feel this is none more true than in Crisis Core especially. As we know from the get-go, Zack's goal was
to become a hero.
So needless to say, you can expect to see Zack walk the mythological hero's journey step by step. So without further ado, let's dive on in to our first step in the journey. Step 1. Ordinary world, unawareness of problem. And Zack is a soldier second class working for Shinra. He clearly is a very talented warrior, as he is working his way up through the ranks. Working for Shinra, working towards becoming a hero, running missions for Soldier, getting lectured by Angeal, all of this represents the ordinary world to Zack Fair. Soldier second class is his 9 to 5. As for his unawareness of the problem, now that's quite loaded. Zack is not only unaware of Genesis's betrayal and all of the turmoil hiding underneath the floorboards of Shinra, but he is also unaware that if he truly wishes to be a hero, like he says, then he is going to learn the hard way that doing Shinra's dirty work is not the path towards becoming the hero that he thinks it is. As it stands now, he is a captive to Shinra's agenda, and before he knows it, he'll be craving his freedom. Leading us to our next step. Step 2. Call to adventure, increased awareness. This moment along the journey is quite the trippy one. Initially catalyzed by Digital Sephiroth's appearance in Zack's training, but brought full circle by Angeal's appearance. After the training ends, Angeal offers some advice to Zack. Advice on how to become the hero he wants to be.
Zack. Embrace your dreams.
Huh?
If you want to be a hero, you need to have dreams. And honor.
This is Zack's call to adventure as Angeal lays out what Zack will need to do in order to become a hero. Notice nothing was said about Shinra, nothing was said about Soldier First Class, or anything pertaining to any of that. What Zack believes will make him a hero and what Angeal believes will make him a hero right now are not fully aligned, as evidenced by the following scene and step along the journey. Worth noting is another call to adventure that could be considered is Kunsel telling Zack about Genesis's desertion. This, of course, increases his awareness to the overall issue within Shinra. Setting us up for step 3. Refusal of the call, fear and resistance to change. Zack's refusal of the call comes after he received one of Angeal's famous lectures on what it would take to become a hero. Zack, not quite understanding what Angeal means yet, is frustrated and instead of pondering the meaning of Angeal's words, finds himself complaining about doing too much training and not being given any missions, as if those missions are what's going to make him a hero. Again, Zack is so fixated on furthering his advancement through Soldier and Shinra that he isn't considering what Angeal had to say. In many ways, this can be considered his passive refusal to the call, but can also be seen as him resisting the change that Angeal has presented. Leading us to step 4, meeting the mentor, overcoming fear. This is perhaps the most obvious of steps on Zack's journey. We all know that Angeal is Zack's mentor, and this is truly put on full display once Zack and Angeal begin their mission to Wutai. Angeal continues to offer advice, tells a story about dumb apples, and guides Zack through the mission.
The largest Benora white tree grew on a wealthy man's estate. It was rumored that those apples tasted the best. But I never stole from that tree, because the wealthy man's son was my friend.
If he was a friend, you should have just asked for some.
Honor can be quite a burden at times.
You know, I've never actually seen you use that. Don't you think it's sort of a waste?
Use brings about wear, tear, and rust. And that's a real waste. That's one more you owe me. You lost your focus.
Yeah. Oh, sorry if your sword got any wear, tear, or rust on it.
You're a little more important than my sword. But just a little.
As for Zack overcoming fear, we can start by acknowledging that Zack, for all intents and purposes, is a pretty fearless guy. But there is one thing that scares him, and it occurs at the end of this mission. Zack is scared of losing Angeal, seemingly here through a betrayal to Shinra. This is a fear Zack will have to overcome and cope with, and he's working towards it in his own way. Setting us up for our next step, Step 5, crossing the threshold, committing to change. This period of time can be allocated not only to the 1-month time skip after Angeal's disappearance, but to Zack being sent out on missions without him. Zack is not only learning how to operate without Angeal and his guidance, but is also taking on missions worthy of a first-class soldier, as evidenced here. Anyway, this is the part in Zack's journey where it's left up to him to embody the lessons Angeal has been trying to pass on him. Only now, Zack must pursue this independently, thus signifying a crossing of the threshold and committing to change. Paving the way for Step 6, tests, allies, and enemies, experimenting with new conditions. As far as gaming narratives go, this section usually covers the most space when compared to others. For Zack and his journey, this particular step will cover everything from when he set out on his mission with Sung, all the way to the scenes where he ends up meeting Cloud. The purpose of this leg of the journey is essentially to introduce the hero to the challenges and people who will help them grow and change into the hero they need to become. So let's break this down. As far as tests go, you have the mission to Genesis's hometown, as well as the mission he takes with Sung and Cloud. As far as allies go, you have the likes of Sung, Aertih, Cisne, and Cloud. And as far as enemies is concerned, you have Genesis, Hollander, and Hojo. Needless to say, many different events and people impacted Zack during this leg of the journey, allowing him to experiment with these new conditions. Let's take Aertih and Cloud for example. In the case of Aertih, Zack finally has something to pursue that isn't work-related, which as far as this game goes, is actually kind of a big deal for him. With Aertih, he's helping somebody voluntarily. Symbolically, you see something similar between Cloud and Aertih in Remake. But anyway, getting back to him helping Aertih voluntarily, this is not because it's a Shinra mission or because this is a person working for Shinra, like say Cloud, Sung, Kunsel, Cisne, or any of his other allies. This in particular makes Aertih stand out. We also see the two develop feelings for one another, which again allow for Zack to pursue or feel passionate about something not related to Shinra, Soldier, becoming a hero, etc. Zack gets to experiment not only with just being a normal dude in the slums, but with helping people like Aertih and Bruno voluntarily, and not because it advances his career at Shinra. As for Cloud, this is where Zack in a lot of ways gets to fill the shoes of a leader. In many ways, Zack starts to become for Cloud what Angeal was for him, a mentor. This new condition for Zack allows him to step into the shoes of a hero, and to Cloud, Zack is becoming just that. But now let's hop on over to Step 7, Approach of the Inmost Cave, preparing for major change. This step in the journey is obviously one that predates Nibelheim, and that's going to be the battle with Angeal. The quote-unquote inmost cave is a metaphor for the hero's innermost self, the place where the hero confronts his or her deepest fears, desires, and flaws. Zack, accepting that he must do battle with Angeal, is an approach to that inmost cave, as this battle will call everything into question that he has learned up until this point. This is further evidenced by the fact that leading up to this battle involves a confrontation with both Hollander and Genesis in the Mako excavation facility. Shinra's dirty secrets and Zack's personal confrontation is all coming to a head, and Angeal is clued into all of that. He understands he needs to prepare Zack for what's to come. He knows about his feelings for Aertih. Zack may be approaching the inmost cave, but Angeal is the one who is leading him there.
To prepare you for your next fight.
Have you lost it? Stop it!
Someone's waiting for you, no?
It is then Hollander shows up, and the truth of SNG type soldiers is revealed. Angeal wishes for Zack to avoid the same sad fate that the rest of Soldier has. Zack does the deed and strikes down his own master. In it though, he did his mentor a favor, not letting him die a monster and having a moment of humanity before his death. Zack may not know it, but being able to handle these difficult tasks and decisions are going to be crucial in him becoming a hero. Leading us into Step 8. Ordeal, Death, and Rebirth. Attempt big change. This, my friends, is where the Nibelheim incident comes into play. Where this presents Zack with an attempt at big change is it does provide him with a chance to be the hero he has always aspired to be. What he doesn't know, though, is that the odds and circumstances are pretty heavily stacked against him when you consider Sephiroth's descent into madness. Zack shows up on the scene, ready to take action, and this is where he finds Tifa. Zack runs to her aid, but Tifa rejects him.
Hate you, Shinra, Soldier, and you. I hate you all!
I feel this is a moment in the story that is too easily glossed over when it is so pivotal to this step on Zack's journey. Tifa explains her hatred for Shinra, Soldier, and yeah, even Zack. This moment not only continues to show Zack the ripple effects that Shinra is having on those he considers his friends and loved ones, but it makes Zack call into question how he can stand to call himself a hero when all he sees is Shinra and Soldier hurting everyone around him. He attempts to change this by charging in to take Sephiroth down. Zack, as we know, is unsuccessful in doing so. The remainder of the Nibelheim scene plays out, Cloud battles Sephiroth, and in the aftermath, Zack and Cloud are abducted by Mojo himself, leading us to Step 9, Reward, Consequences of Attempt at Change. For Zack, this step in the journey is quite the mixed bag. Certainly, his survival along with Cloud's is something to feel good about, as well as what will serve as a temporary defeat of Sephiroth. While Zack was unable to stop Sephiroth himself or earn Tifa's forgiveness, he has essentially been granted a second chance to save the day, or at the very least, his friend Cloud. However, this will come at the cost of him becoming a fugitive and Shinra abandoning him as an ally and a soldier. However, and this is where the reward comes into play, if Zack's goal is to truly become a hero, then him no longer being on the same side of Shinra is a step in the right direction. Though the impact and consequences of Shinra turning on Zack is severe, I struggle to think there was any way Zack could achieve his dream so long as he was doing Shinra's bidding. To round this step on the journey out, Zack's reward is more than just a second chance. It's being put in a position where he can finally be the hero he wants to be. We will discuss that more soon. Step 10, the road back. New challenge and rededication. This is one of those steps that is really quite literal. Zack has a new resolve: save his friend Cloud from death, try to help Genesis, and return to Midgar to see his beloved Aertih, thus creating the foundation for Zack to finally embody his dream of being a hero. Zack takes Cloud and begins his route back to Midgar. Cloud along for the ride, with the occasional little detour here and there. On the way, he bumps into Genesis, as Zack makes one final attempt to try and save him.
I've come here to help you.
Which so eloquently shows you what Zack is starting to believe a hero is, thus fulfilling his new challenge and rededication even further. Couple it with everything Angeal taught him about honor and dreams, Zack also has a desire to save those in need. He tried to save Angeal, but couldn't. Tried to save Tifa, but couldn't. Tried to save Sephiroth, but couldn't. It is here he makes an attempt at saving Genesis, and although Genesis makes it out of this one alive, it is more impact due to Minerva and not so much Zack. That said, Zack was successful in assisting Genesis like he wanted, but that leaves his goals of saving Cloud and returning to Aertih still unfulfilled. But again, this paves the way for his road back and his new challenge and rededication. paving us into step 11, resurrection. Final attempts, last minute danger. This part of the journey kicks off right after Zack gets some closure pertaining to Angeal, Lizard, and Genesis. What's notable about this send-off for Zack is Genesis recognizing Zack as a hero. When he asks Zack,
Is it good?
Yeah.
and after Zack replies, Genesis says that the dream came true. And if we recall, it was always Genesis's dream for a hero to taste the Benora White Apple. Initially, he dreamt it would be Sephiroth, but we see here that it turned out to be Zack. Thus, we have Zack starting to be recognized as a hero. However, that footnote aside, Zack sets off on his final leg of the journey back to Midgar. By returning to Midgar, Zack would be successful not only in Cloud's rescue, but also in returning to Aertih. However, the Shinra army ends up locating and catching up to him, igniting what we know as Zack's last stand. As we know, as far as Crisis Core is concerned, Zack is unsuccessful in his last stand and gets struck down to his end. Before his final breaths, a Cloud that is slowly gaining his senses and sense of self back finds Zack wounded and bleeding out. Zack passes his hero's legacy onto Cloud, and in the spirit of the hero's journey, we see Zack, in a sense, resurrected. But before we get too ahead of ourselves here, let's cover the specifics of the final step, Step 12, Return with Elixir, Mastery of Problem. Though Zack was unsuccessful in surviving, there was certainly one thing he was successful at. Zack became a hero, not only by his acts of self-sacrificing nature, but that he finally saved somebody. Cloud, Zack mastered the problem of both his inner and outer self. On one hand, he mastered the problem of wanting to be a hero, but being stuck doing Shinra's dirty work. Zack became not only more self-aware of himself, his flaws and his shortcomings, but also his strengths and the things he cares about most. He also addressed the issues of Shinra's dirty secrets as well. Zack obviously didn't fix everything, if so there wouldn't be a need for the sequences of the original Final Fantasy VII, but what he did do was secure the legacy of the Buster Sword, the legacy of Angeal, the legacy of himself, and the legacy of being a hero. And that sword's legacy being Cloud, who ended up being another young aspirational boy from the country who became the hero he always dreamed he would be. In his self-sacrificing nature and act of heroism to save his friend Cloud, Zack ascended to the lifestream as a hero, seemingly accompanied by his mentor and hero Angeal. Though this ending may tear us up from the inside out, let's recall that Zack did achieve his dream that he set out for. And though the price of freedom and the cost of a hero's sacrifice is steep, it is ultimately one Zack embodied with a smile. And that hero, Cloud, the embodiment of Zack's legacy, ended up being a crucial part of the elixir that healed the planet in the defeat of Jenova and Sephiroth. I absolutely love not only Crisis Core, not only the hero's journey, but Zack Fair himself. His journey of becoming a hero has always stuck with me, as it pulls no punches in displaying, as we just said, the price and cost of such dreams. Zack is a hero, and his story will forever stand the test of time. But anyway, that's gonna just about do it for us here today. But before you head out, feel free to drop in the comments below and share your thoughts about Zack, his journey, and everything he had to sacrifice to become a hero. So anyway, you sickos and normies, be good out there. Be good to yourselves and each other, and I will see all of you beautiful sickos and normies next time.